Hi, welcome. In this little video, I'm going to give you a piece of advice that will change how you raise your kids. Do you have children? Or are you wanting to have children, but are among the growing list of people who look around at the chaos and trouble it seems to be and say, I don't want any part of that? Well, I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. There's something that the last generation for sure has missed in regards to raising kids that is, I would say, a silver bullet in regards to raising children. Over the past 40, 50 years, our government and the powers that be have given us a terrible disservice in not only discouraging, but even outlawing the proper discipline of children under the age of 2, I would say. They have demonized it so much so that people look out for it. And if a parent happens to hit their child in any way, well, they could be charged for it. But you need to know that within a loving family, you can discipline your children in a way that will build them up, encourage them, at the same time teaching them right from wrong and teaching them to respect not only others, but themselves. The first 2 years, and maybe even the first 3 years, that's stretching it though, if you can teach them that no means no and that they're not going to get their way, that will change the whole perspective of their life. You know, even from the very moment that they come out of the womb. So we like to think that that babies are perfect and they're sinless, but that's not so. The scriptures say that we're born in sin and shaped in iniquity. I would say pride, selfishness, rebellion are the first things that start to come out in a child. You watch and you see that that's the case. And so our job as parents is to squeeze that out of them. Even before they begin to remember how you did it. The bulk of disciplining that my father and mother did with me was before I can even remember. And so by the time I can remember, I've always had an awesome love and respect for my mom and dad. And I don't know where it came from. But as I got older and had children of my own and was taught by my father, and I saw how he dealt with my kids, I saw exactly what had happened. And so, right from the beginning, you need to teach your children right from wrong, and that no means no. Mothers, if you're nursing even, you know this, that your child will get to biting you sometimes. They've got to know with a little snap even that that's not acceptable. And yeah, they'll cry, but the scriptures admonish us not to worry too much about their crying, and they'll get over it. You'll find that one of the key characteristics of a very young child, and you'd be surprised on how young, is manipulation. And they will try and manipulate a parent. And generally they will succeed unless that parent nips it in the bud. And so, whether it be their eating, whether it be their sharing space, sharing toys, being told to do this or that, or being told not to do this or that, it's important that when they're young, you teach them that. You will find that if this happens in the early years, the years after it will become easier. If you don't do it in the early years, discipline in the later years becomes very hard, very complicated, and most often unsuccessful. I'm not saying that it's never too late, but there's always ways, but it's very hard and difficult. So this is why it's so important that moms stay home with your kids, most especially during those early years, because that's where they're shaped on how they will respond to you later on in life. You and your husband take time with your children. Don't give off your kids to be raised by some nanny or some childcare service. You need to do it yourself. And I know society right now is making that very difficult. But even if you have to give up some things to do that, it's very important. And if you think I'm wrong, then just look at kids all around you, and you'll see how what I'm telling you is the truth. So practical things, like I said, make sure you teach that child at a very young age what no means. Teach them by experience so that they don't have to go through that when they're older. If they reach for something on a cupboard and you tell them no, they should realize what that means. And then if they still reach for that, there needs to be a repercussion for that they will remember and feel. You know, God put extra paddings on our backsides for a reason. Now, chances are you don't want to do any of this in public. I've never liked to discipline our kids in public, but we definitely took them out or aside and did it there. And they needed to know that there were repercussions for them disobeying. And then we found as they got older, there was that respect, and they knew right from wrong. And if there was still rebellion, well, then that was dealt with in an even harsher way as they got older. But it can only be done in the most loving and remedial way, even as God deals with us. So I hope this little bit has encouraged you not to put off having kids, but it's something that can be fun and fulfilling and joyful and not chaotic. We need kids to sustain our society. We need God-loving moms and dads who will step up and do what's right. You know, you may have noticed that I have but skimmed the surface in regards to these child-raising things, but I just wanted to kindle something inside of you that will let you know that it is possible to raise good, respectable kids who will be a benefit to society. And it's done in those first 2 years of life. Thanks for joining me today.